Hey cake lovers, happy new year. I hope you had a nice, restful and peaceful time over the festive period. Welcome to the first episode of Cake Crumbs for 2025. Now, this story is not a particularly positive story, but I wanted to talk about it because it happened 3 weeks ago and it's an ongoing investigation and it involves cake. So let's get into the story. So on the 25th of December 2024 in Brazil, a lady called Zeles de Anjos, I don't know if I'm saying that right, prepared a traditional Brazilian cake called a Bola de Natal. Here's a picture of it. It's kind of like a really rich fruit cake, which is traditionally served at Christmas. This cake that she made was consumed by 6 of her family members, including herself. And that's important to remember as we go through the story. All of 6 members, including herself, of the family, ended up in hospital. And unfortunately, 3 of them passed away, which is really sad. Tests were done on everybody, and it was found that there was arsenic was detected. Now, when you think of arsenic, you think of like murder mysteries, Agatha Christie. That's what I think, somebody who's intentionally poisoning someone to do harm, to gain something. But the police who are currently investigating are looking to see if maybe some of the ingredients that were used in the cake somehow developed bacteria which caused the arsenic to appear and cause harm to these people. Now, when they were talking to Zeles, she's still in the hospital, they kind of asked her the background of, this cake that was made. So what she told them was that she made the cake not at her normal everyday home, but at her holiday home. She had a holiday home, and when she went to this holiday home probably about a month ago, she noticed that the electrics had gone, and when she investigated it, she was told that there was a power cut. So naturally, when there's a power cut and you have perishable goods in your freezer and your fridge, you would go in there and throw everything out. But from what I'm reading, she threw out things like, meat, dairy, but there were also items such as currants and dried and crystallized fruits that were in the fridge that she kept. And I'm only thinking that she kept them because she thought, well, meat naturally, once it's gone off, but things like fruit are not too bad. But what you have to think is, if it's been in the fridge all this time and it's been at a really cold temperature and then suddenly the electric goes and it's at a warm temperature, it's a perfect breeding ground for bacteria. And as we know, in Brazil, it gets really hot. So I can imagine once the fridge had gone off and the temperature would have rapidly risen, and all them items in the fridge would have gone off. So I'm like, why would you not throw everything away? Why would you just keep some things? Because you think, oh, well, because it's dried fruit, it'll be okay. No. If it's been off for how many days, that fridge, everything needs to go. Everything. So for me, that was like one big mistake. But they're not sure if this is what has caused it, but this is a current line of inquiry. Knowing a slight twist in the case, Zeles' husband, Paulo, passed away in September of 2024 from suspected food poisoning. Now, I'm assuming they're saying suspected because they weren't entirely sure. But then there's going to be plans to possibly exhume his body to have a look at it more, because they're looking to see if there's a possible connection. But when speaking to, the press spoke to some of his relatives, they believed he did pass away from food poisoning, which is caused by a banana. Now, this is the story. Where Paulo and Zeles were living, their current home, I don't know how long they'd been there, but they previously lived somewhere else. And there was an incident that happened where their previous home, there was like a flood, and somehow chemicals apparently got sort of were part of that flood. And when they moved to their current home, they had the banana plant that they had at their previous home, Paolo dug up and brought to their current home. And it was said that the banana from that plant was what caused him to pass away. Now, what some of the relatives are speculating is that where the plant was before, after the flood, the contaminated flood happened, some kind of chemicals got into the plant, got into the soil, got into the root system, and it was still there when they dug it up and moved it and placed it, at their current home. But they also think that possibly some of those chemicals might have got onto the cookware, so like the cake tin of this cake. And I don't know, because the thing is, I'm assuming when you're baking, you make sure all your equipment is completely clean and clear. But it may be the case that even if you do wash all your equipment, if it's been contaminated by chemicals, washing it, normal everyday washing with like washing up liquid may not get rid of it. So it might have got really ingrained into the cookware. I mean, I'm assuming this is something that they're looking at. I don't know how likely that is or not, because I'm not a scientist. So the fact is that if a chemical gets into cookware, despite you washing it, it could still really be sort of ingrained in the cookware. I don't know. But it's quite a sad story. At the moment, so she hasn't been arrested, probably because she ate the cake herself. Now, if you poisoned the cake intentionally, would you then go and eat it? You wouldn't, would you? So that's probably why she hasn't been arrested as yet. But it's still an ongoing investigation just to see if this was unfortunately natural causes, or if there was something more sinister to hand. It's when I saw this story, I just had to sort of comment on it, because we think about cake and we think about, it's such a nice sort of innocent food item. People have a birthday cake, celebration cake. But, depending on how you prepare your items, how you prepare your cake, it can cause harm. And if it is the case that those currants and dried fruits you used were contaminated due to when there was the power cut and all the items in the fridge were spoiled, but she didn't throw those away, I mean, that's really kind of a bit careless to me. But like I said, this is still an ongoing investigation, so we will see what happens. If I get any update by the time I upload this video, I will put it in the comments somewhere. But let me know your thoughts on this case. Do you think this is a unfortunate accident, or do you think this is deliberate? Until next time, cake lovers.